You know, I have to tell you, young man, we had a deal. You were supposed to select me first when I talked to you earlier today. Remember when we were talking earlier? You forgot already? Okay.
Well, it's the luck of the draw.
There you go.
He's gonna be a dealer in a Las Vegas casino someday, I can tell. I'm Mike Suarez. I am not only running for mayor, but I am your city council member. I have served you for the last 7.5 years in a citywide position, and I have been to your neighborhood association several times. Alan, I know that has actually, at the beginning of this meeting, Alan was asking for more members to be part of the homeowners association meeting. The homeowners association. Alan, you've been saying that every single time that I've come here, so obviously you have not been as persuasive as possible. How many in this room are actually live in Westshore Palms? Raise your hand, please. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure, because we do have a lot of folks in here that are not part of this neighborhood, and you know how unique your neighborhood is. You are bounded by Westshore Boulevard, Kennedy, the interstate, and Lois Avenue, and it makes it kind of an interesting type of neighborhood. You are completely surrounded by development, and you have development that's encroaching in on you much more than you had in the past. I'm a third generation Tampano. I was born and raised here in West Tampa, and I went to Jefferson High School, so I know your neighborhood very well. There was a young lady that I used to go to school with. She used to live in this area, probably on Hubert, I believe. I think it was the Ellswick family. I don't know if anybody's lived here long enough to remember them. But, you know, when you're in this neighborhood, it's changed significantly. I'm 54 years old now, and it's changed significantly since the time that I graduated from high school. You know, some of the things that were mentioned, this young man mentioned about the Publix coming in. It's the first time that there's been a grocery store in about, I think it's about 20 years, 15 or 20 years, when the cash and carry left. And before that, how many of you remember the A&P that used to be over here at Westshore? There you go. We got at least one person that is as young as I am. Thanks so much.
My brother-in-law that had the cash and carry.
And your brother-in-law had the cash and carry. So what you know is that your neighborhood is not connected to a lot of other places. So you have a fairly close walk to go to Westshore. Now you're going to have a close trip to go over to Publix. But as I've gone around this city and I'm representing it for the last 7.5 years, I've gone to all the neighborhoods in the city of Tampa. Not once, not twice, but several times. And one of the things that I've learned is that all neighborhoods have 4 needs. Almost every single one of them have the exact same needs. They're not in the same order, they're a little bit different. First one is public safety. How often do we respond as a police force to make sure that we're protecting you? How do police officers and firefighters react to your needs? How do they treat you when they see you, when they talk to you? And how do they protect our neighborhoods, both in terms of how they respond, but also in terms of the way they respond to you on an individual basis? It's extremely important to us. The second thing is transportation. You'll hear a lot about transportation. You'll read a lot about it in the newspaper. But transportation are a lot of things. It's not just a bus or a train. It truly is, you know, sidewalks. And with the offered transportation dollars that we're going to be receiving, we're going to be able to build a lot more sidewalks in this city. And one of the things that I want to do as part of that is to have a sidewalk selection survey. Alan was mentioning earlier about the sidewalk that they've been trying to get for a while now. And that's something, I think we may have talked about it even, Alan, previously. We have not had the funds necessary in order to build sidewalks, and it has been a hindrance on you wherever you wanted to go. And so we want to make sure that you're a part of that solution. You're telling us your needs as opposed to us telling you what you need. The third thing is improving services. You know, we want to make sure that the good water goes in, the bad water goes out, the trash gets picked up. You know, the things that we are supposed to do as a city, the commitments that we make to you. And I would like for us to see more of a clean city. I was at VMEBOR's Neighborhood Association yesterday, and I've been there several times. They have very unique challenges there, primarily because of the number of homeless people that are in their neighborhood. They have a place called Trinity Cafe that has impacted their neighborhood in a negative way. Now, there are different ways that we can try and solve these problems, but there are things that we all share, which is people tend to litter a lot more, and especially around interstates. So you are impacted by major roads here, and you probably see a lot more litter along the edges of your neighborhood. We need to improve that. And I think that what we ought to do is, and something that we've done in the past, is to have sweeps of the neighborhood. Do a weekend or a week-long sweep using code enforcement and other members of our staff to come out here and clean up and make sure it becomes a community effort. It's not just the city doing it, but everyone else pulling together to make sure we make it a clean place. Secondly, is there code enforcement issues all over the city. We do not have enough code enforcement officers. We don't use technology enough in order to solve some of those problems. And as your next mayor, I'm going to make sure that we put more time and effort into solving those kind of issues. As an example, there was a company out of Chicago that called Cityscape that was using a Google car. You know what a Google car is, a camera? You'll probably have seen it. It'll take a picture, and you know exactly what, if you go to Google, you can see what destination you're going to, and it'll show you the picture of it. Well, this company had the idea of taking pictures all over a city and finding those code violators just by taking a photograph. And then mapping that onto a large GIS map, and then actually going out and getting fines paid, and they get a percentage of it because they will be able to find those folks that are breaking the code enforcement ordinances, use those dollars in order to clean up our city. I'd like to do more of those type of things because we haven't put much money or effort into that. And the last thing, and probably the most important, is integrity in government. And what I mean by that is those companies that come in and do business with us, you will have a complete transparent activity of what's going on. And that the commitments that we make to you, the promises that we make, are kept. And, one of the things that people do when they run for office, and having run a couple of times for office, I understand it because I've run against other quality people, they'll make promises that they can't keep, or promises that don't really lend themselves to things that you really want to see. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to make commitments to you, and I'm going to be in your neighborhoods just as often as I've been now as your city council member. As the next mayor, we're going to make sure that we have quarterly meetings in different neighborhoods. And we're going to be there with senior staff. This administration used to do that. First 2 years, Bob Buckhorn used to have that kind of event. He doesn't do it anymore. I don't know why. I think it's one of the most helpful things that we can do. Because now you have a direct connection to your government, to those things that we promise you, to those things that we tell you, and the things that we complete our mission on. Because sometimes we can't complete it quickly or quickly enough, but we're going to make sure we try. So those 4 tenets that I've talked about is part of my neighborhood Bill of Rights. That will be on my wall, those 4 tenets, all those things that we just talked about, in my office as your next mayor. And every senior staff member will have it in their office too. And every time that we talk about what we're doing, those 4 things have to come up. Are we providing the kind of public safety needs that are necessary in each neighborhood? Are we making sure that the transportation, including sidewalks, are being completed so that this city is connected, every neighborhood is connected to each and every other neighborhood? Thirdly, whether or not our services are being performed the way that we have promised that we will perform them. And fourth, and more importantly, that the commitments we've made to you, the promises, are being kept each and every day. As your next mayor, we're going to make neighborhoods the center of this city. It isn't about one place. It isn't about one type of business. It's not one type of activity. It is about all of it. Because every neighborhood is Tampa. We must make sure that we provide each and every one of you an equitable piece of what Tampa is. We're a great place. We're very special. And many of you are natives too. And even people that come here understand it is special because of the welcoming nature of all of us together. So I hope that you will join me and make sure that I become your next mayor so that we can transform this city in a way that will make us all proud. My name is Mike Suarez. Please visit MikeForTampa.com if you want some more information. Thank you for being here, and for God's sake, please help out Alan and get some people on the board to make sure he's not the only one here. Thanks again for being here, and we'll answer your questions as they come along. Thanks so much.